All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a look at something that honestly might sound a little bit dry on the surface, an 8th grade math teaching plan. But stick with me here, because what we actually have is a fascinating, masterfully crafted blueprint for building a mathematical mind. It's basically the ultimate architect's guide to how students learn to think, taking abstract concepts and breaking them down into a highly structured, day-by-day reality.
Okay, let's dive into this outline. We're going to take a macro to micro journey today. We'll start with the modern math blueprint, look at teaching in the digital age, break down the anatomy of a unit plan, map out some concepts, and finally wrap up with the reflective teacher.
So starting off with part 1, laying the foundation with the modern math blueprint.
You know, true education starts with a massive, grand vision, way before a single number even hits the chalkboard. This blueprint, it's definitely not just a schedule of what chapters to read. It acts as a compass, guiding educators through a purposeful academic year. Just take a look at this quote right from the preface of the source. Mathematics is the queen of all sciences. I mean, talk about setting the stakes, right? The curriculum designers are treating math with absolute reverence. It's not just about crunching numbers to pass a test. It's about structural integrity, logical reasoning, and really understanding universal truths.
Now you might be wondering, why are we specifically architecting the 8th class experience today? Well, because this is a perfectly pivotal target year. It is literally the exact moment in a student's cognitive development where basic arithmetic morphs into algebra and where abstract thinking truly takes root. The foundation we build here supports all the higher-level sciences later on down the line.
And to meet those crazy high stakes, this year's plan is perfectly synced up with the National Education Policy 2020. This is a massive paradigm shift, guys. It moves us entirely away from those old days of mind-numbing rote memorization. So, yeah, goodbye flashcards. Instead, the focus is squarely on competency-based learning, the deep integration of technology, and continuous professional development for the teachers themselves. Which brings us right to our second point, teaching in the digital age. So the crucial point here is that a modern blueprint requires modern heavy machinery to actually build it. The authors of this document totally get that you just can't build a 21st century mind using 19th century tools. We are shifting entirely away from purely traditional pen and paper exercises toward totally dynamic AI-integrated digital simulations. The document explicitly pushes for experiential learning environments to really boost engagement and actually help kids retain these complex concepts.
And it doesn't just vaguely say, hey, use more tech. It provides the exact resources needed. Check out these specific recommendations from the source. GeoGebra for dynamic geometry, the DIXH app, Khan Academy, Graspable Math, and RoboCompass. By laying out this specific toolkit, the curriculum really empowers educators to instantly modernize their classrooms and make abstract ideas visually tangible.
Okay, let's move on to the third section, the anatomy of a unit plan.
Now we're zooming in from the macro year plan to the meso unit plan. We get to see exactly how individual chapters are systematically broken down for execution in a real classroom. There's this incredibly elegant 3-step pedagogical progression outlined here for every single unit. Step 1, always check prerequisites. You got to verify that foundational knowledge before throwing new variables at them. Step 2, teach the carefully demarcated subtopics. And Step 3, measure to ensure you achieve those specific learning outcomes. It is a completely foolproof progression.
To put the sheer level of pacing and detail into perspective, just think about the number 21. It takes exactly 21 meticulously planned teaching periods just to cover the unit on rational numbers. 21 periods. That is a massive amount of dedicated time to ensure students aren't just memorizing rules, but actually deeply understanding the operations, the properties, and the decimal representations.
All right, diving even deeper, Section 4 is all about mapping mathematical concepts. We are now at the micro level, and honestly, this is the absolute goldmine of the source document. It's visual concept webs. Now, what's really interesting about this map is how it visually connects completely different mathematical ideas. It links abstract properties, like your commutative and distributive laws, right alongside physical number lines and decimal representations. It ensures students see the whole picture. Their brains are mapping relationships, not just hoarding isolated facts. Let's move to the next slide and see how this logic builds into even more complex territory with linear equations. The branching pathways here are just fantastic. It effortlessly links algebraic solving techniques, like dealing with variables on one or both sides, directly with geometric concepts like the angle sum properties of triangles. It proves to the student that algebra and geometry aren't separate worlds at all. They are deeply, deeply intertwined. And this brilliantly illustrates the methodical nature of geometry. Looking at the quadrilaterals concept map, you can see how the construction process is split into highly specific subcases. Whether you're given 4 sides and 1 angle, or 3 sides and 2 diagonals, the map provides a distinct, logical pathway for the student to follow. It takes complex geometric construction and turns it into a highly structured, repeatable algorithm. It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
Finally, our last section, the reflective teacher. Now we are at the absolute micro level, the day-to-day life and mind of the educator who is actually executing this master plan. Because, let's face it, a grand blueprint is only as good as the person laying the bricks, right? This is the daily teaching diary mandated by the curriculum. Notice how it requires teachers to log daily subtopics and the specific learning outcomes achieved. But the real kicker here is the remarks column for teacher reflections plus a signature line for the headmaster. This creates a continuous daily loop of classroom feedback, introspection, and accountability. It guarantees the plan is actually working on the ground.
So, we've gone all the way from the grand philosophy of the Queen of Sciences right down to the daily diary entries of an 8th grade teacher. It is an incredible architecture of learning. So I want to leave you with this thought. How will careful, structured planning transform your students' mathematical abilities? Whether you're an educator, a parent, or just a lifelong learner, adapting this level of systematic, reflective planning could absolutely elevate how you teach and how you learn. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep exploring the fascinating structures around you.